Okay, so we are live and hello everybody. Welcome to iOS Tuesday. I think it's been a minute. iOS Tuesday is back and I have a guest. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I am Hakeem Deggs. I am an iOS junior dev looking for a position in iOS. I'm currently striving to get my first job in tech.
Nice, nice. So, um, s- uh, if you are new to iOS Tuesday, so what we do, we talk about iOS, we talk about like career journey, stuff like that, or sometimes we just nerd out on just different iOS stuff, like different tech stuff. So if you have any questions, thoughts, please feel free to ask them in the chat. The only rule that I have for iOS Tuesday that everybody is respectful to one another and our guests and myself. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. Liam said hello, 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 Liam.
Hello, Lee.
So tell me how did you get into iOS development?
Honestly, I one day I was sitting at home and I was like, all right, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's Twitter, all these different applications. I'm like, how are they getting made? I mean, and of course it's like, oh, this guy's a billionaire, this guy's a billionaire, this guy's a billionaire. It's like, let me look into how to make an application. And literally, this was just a random thought. I had a conversation with my friend in college. Mind you, I'm like 20 in college. Actually, I'm like 27 right now, so I'm not that old. But I'm like 20 in college, and we're like talking about this app because I played sports in college. I was a football player in college, and we're talking about this wild application. But at the time, we had no thoughts of even making it, any thoughts of even going into tech. We were just talking about what if this application was made, and we're like, yeah, that would be a cool idea. We'll make a ton of money. Yeah, sure.
Hmm.
But fast forward like 4 years later, I'm like, oh, I'm in accounting. I don't think I want to do this forever. So let's see what tech has to offer. So I'm like, oh, it's Facebook, Twitter, all these different cool apps. Even you heard of Bisco?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, let's see how to make it. So jump on Google. I'm like, how to make an app. And these Udemy courses pop up, and I'm like, oh, let's try to learn. And from that day on, I've been learning how to build iOS applications. Obviously, I did my research. What language should I learn? Swift, Python, all these different languages. So I was like, Ruby on Rails. I was like, I said, let's see what Snapchat, when Snapchat launched, I was like, let's see what
Hmm.
they built first. And then everybody was like, oh, most applications that gets built, usually they launch in iOS first. So I was like, all
Hmm.
right, I'll learn the iOS application. And from there, we're here.
Nice. And like, what resources like did you use to learn iOS development? Did you go to a boot camp, or like did you go to like free resources, or you bought like online
I
courses or online boot camps?
I bought a course on Udemy that was maybe like 10 to 15 bucks. You- And it was Angela Yu. I don't know if you know who Angela Yu is. And I learned from there. And I also YouTube Academy, for sure YouTube is the route for a lot of people. Um I use Paul course. I know you know Paul Hudson.
Hmm.
Code with Chris was a resource. Um, but that was about it. I'm sure there's some others that I sprinkled in there, but yeah, that's how I learned.
Nice. Liam said anyone in accounting who loves numbers should consider programming. Solid move. Yeah,
I
like I have a disclose like full disclosure. I'm terrible at math and I hate numbers, but I'm good at programming. Well, I want to think that I'm good at programming more or less, but but yeah, I think accountant like they have pretty logical um way like framework of thinking. So like does it help
Yeah,
you
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
being an accountant with the programming in any way?
Sometimes I feel like it hurts me because
Oh.
I think things are never good enough. And sometimes I feel because with numbers is either right or wrong, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like one plus one equals two. But with coding, it's a million different routes to one solution. So sometimes I'm like, is this the best way to do it? Is there an easier way to do it? Is there a cleaner way to do it? And it sometimes I feel like it slows me down a lot. But I don't know. I think it helps ultimately, but sometimes I think I overthink things. Let
Yeah,
me say
the
that.
better is the enemy of the good. Like it's so true because like you will never write a perfect code because I think like you don't know what you don't know. So
Hmm.
like years later or like a while later, like until you learn how to implement like your architecture in a better way, how to implement your framework in a better way, like you
Hmm.
don't know what you're doing wrong, and then like you will have to refactor. And I think, I don't know, when it comes to programming, my personal approach, like yes, use clean code and like like write your code in a better way. But it's not like I took my first iOS app that I wrote and I wrote a clean code. No, like my first app, well, like really any feature that I'm trying to write, I'm trying to make it work first. So make it
Hmm.
work,
Hmm.
then I will refactor it, make sure that it will scale. And like the clean code, a clean approach that like don't write principles and things like that, it kind of comes with experience. And like yes, you should target like quality code like even as a junior developer,
Yeah.
but like
Yep.
you shouldn't be too hard on yourself because like a person with like I don't know with 2, 3, 5 years of experience, like they will code a little bit better than you. And
Hmm.
also
Hmm.
like when you code by yourself and like just following tutorials, it's not the same as when you're working with other developers and you're learning best practices and you're learning like really cool approaches from other people.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I when you when you're following tutorials and you look back and see how when you think about how you would have wrote that line of code, sometimes it's eye opening. And I
Hmm.
remember one day I was watching one of Paul Hudson's tutorials, and he said he looked back when his code like a few years ago, and he realized that it was terrible code. And I was like, oh God, I wonder what my code looks like because Paul Hudson, to me, Paul Hudson is like the God, you know? So that's interesting to hear him say that.
Like I don't know, like now I look at some of the tutorials that like I followed um or like online, and like I don't know, like when you work with a big code base and like you look at the tutorial, like you immediately see like drawbacks for your code base. And like you just like I don't know, it's like a mini PR. Like you sit there and it's just like, no, like I would have done it better, like no, I have to refactor this, no, it goes there, no, it goes here. But like it also makes sense that like I think what one thing that people don't realize when they watch tutorials or follow tutorials, that a tutorial is not going to be the perfect code that you write. It's not going to be the production level code that you're going to write at like a software company. It might be good for MVP for like a small size application, but
Hmm.
I think the point of the tutorial is to learn how to do a thing, and then you can refactor that code and do the thing in a different way. Because, like, I don't know, like when I put together a proof of concept, it's a very quick and dirty code, but then like I would have to put layers and layers and layers of refactoring and
Yeah,
abstraction, like just to fit it into like my current architecture.
yeah, that makes sense. I guess I've never seen production code, a production code base,
Mhm.
but I don't know. For me, I assumed it was kind of like how the tutorials went about things, or you would take bits and pieces from it. But I just wasn't sure. But that's good to
Yeah.
hear.
Yeah, yeah. So, why didn't you decide to go for like a boot camp? Why you decide to go like? I think when it comes to like, like the path to become a software developer, like you can go to CS degree, like get like earn your CS degree. You can
Mhm.
go do boot camp, or you can do like 100% self-taught route, which is I think self-taught route is the hardest out of them all. Like,
Mhm.
why did you decide to go like 100% self-taught route? Like, why not like um boot camp? Like, I just thought, why not CS degree? Because like if you already have a degree, like going back for CS degree where they don't really teach you like how to build mobile or web applications like right off the bat, like they teach you a lot of like computer science theory, which is useful sometimes. So why self-taught? Why not boot camp?
It's it's different when you don't know any better. So for me, I was done with college, and I was like, do I want to put myself in more debt? I was like, that's not going to happen. And I obviously did my Google, and a lot of people said a CS degree wasn't necessary. So I said to myself, why would I put myself in, I don't know, 50, 60K of debt when most people that's in the field says it's not necessary? Well, it's kind of split. Some people say it's necessary, some people say it's not, but from what I was told, it's not necessary. And I just got off the phone with a senior at Nike, and he was just giving me some pointers and tips. And he's like, really, it's how good of a developer you are. He said he's seen people who doesn't have a CS degree just as good as the people who has a CS degree. So I, I was like, yeah, that was my mindset on everything. I was like, I'm not going to put myself in debt when I can just get a small course and learn it that way. And that's the route I chose.
But why not going to a boot camp? Because boot camp, like, it's not as expensive, and they can teach you how to work together with other people. I mean, granted, like, you're gonna work on simple projects, probably the same
Uh-huh.
project that you do like on your like courses. But
Hmm.
like, I think what bootcamp can give you is to teach you how to like use GitHub with other people, how to do
Hmm.
code review, how to collaborate together, how to like hold yourself accountable for your team and other people.
Um, I guess for me, I didn't have anybody to tell me, go to a boot camp that would help you tremendously.
Hmm.
It was just me really hopping on Google saying, look, I want to learn how to code. All right, this is a cheap route, and I am disciplined enough to sit down every night after work and work
Hmm.
on code. I'm sure if somebody told me, say before I decided to do that, or say I talked to a lot of friends and they had went through the process already and
Hmm.
they have been through a boot camp and they can tell me, all right, this works, this can for sure get you a job. Maybe I would have, but that's not the knowledge I had at the time.
Hmm.
But I'm sure if someone told me you go to a boot camp, you pay what, 5 or 6K?
Well, like you pay like 15, 20K. That's a lot of money.
I just told him no, I'm not going to boot camp. I can tell you that right now. I just said I'll learn this way. 20K is a lot of money. Yeah, I
It
probably wouldn't have
is.
went to boot camp, and I was already in debt out of college. I said no, not going to just throw 20 more K in there. But yeah,
Yeah, I get
that
it.
was
I get it. So, well, as a self-taught, like, because I taught myself how to do like iOS development, but my situation was a little bit different because I was already working in tech. I was like a QA engineer or like as that senior software developer in test. So I knew how to write code and I
hmm
was a part of iOS team. So like it wasn't really anything completely different. Like I was just, oh, like I like what they do. Like let me do what they do and see how it's done. So and like I spent like maybe like 3 4 months like really hammering on UI kit and like but like mapkit other like iOS frameworks outside of XCT test and like oh like yeah it's a little bit more convoluted and like there are a lot more tools I can use but like it's really not too bad. So what challenges did you have? Because like I can only imagine how it is confusing and hard when you like when you know nothing and you want to build a mobile application and like it's just you. Hakeem, hello, can you hear me? Oh, hello. I think we are having technical difficulties. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me?
hello. Are we
Yeah,
back?
uh, yeah. Like you were frozen for a second. Can like did you
Yeah,
hear my question?
I could not hear you. I was waiting for it to load back in.
Oh, I apologize. So let me repeat my question. So, as a completely self-taught developer, what challenges did you face? Because I was learning iOS development on the job because I was already in
hmm
tech and I was a part of like iOS team. And but like I can only imagine how confusing it might be for a person like when it's just you and like you need to figure it out. Like yeah, there's internet and there's Google, but like I can imagine it could be like it was challenging and confusing. So what challenges did you have or what challenges are you facing as a self-taught developer?
Holy, that is a question that probably can take 2 days to answer. But being self-taught, you're literally teaching yourself like you don't know anything, honestly, and your community is so small, whereas you have people who have been through the process, so you kind of know what to expect, what to look for, all the different nuances. I literally had to figure everything out. Literally everything you probably was just experiencing on a daily basis, I had to literally figure it all out. Like, I mean, at the course I took, they only tell you so like you only can know so much from a course. And I had to figure out how to apply to jobs, how to get involved in the community, what
Hmm.
was the correct process of getting involved in the community, the little nuances of if you want people to notice you to get a job, you have to kind of show off your work to the community and
Hmm.
not just like sit in the house all day in a dark corner and just go away and expect to, I don't know, get a job eventually. Because I mean, in a real world, you don't have to like say for example, accounting. You
Hmm.
don't get on Twitter and say, "Oh, I know how to multiply 6 times 6," and yeah, you get 36 or whatever, and you
Hmm.
just show off to everybody. Whereas with iOS, typically from what I've been told from doing my research and talking to people, most people don't get jobs in iOS from just applying.
Hmm.
Usually they get a little help from somebody they know or someone that referred them to the company. And that's what I'm starting to realize. And the way you get that respect is from the community. So I had to figure that out where at first I just put my resume together and sent it off into the careers portal. And I also learned that sending your resume through the careers portal, it gets filtered out by certain keywords that they're looking for. And so sometimes your resume might not even make it to the hiring manager because of certain keywords and different things like that. So it's like it's like learning a lot. You have to learn a lot.
Yeah,
So little
yeah,
things like that.
yeah. I agree. Yes. So, what a, like for someone out there, like just like yourself, who is trying to like who thinks like, oh, like I want to code, and I have no money, like to I don't have 20K to go to coding boot camp, but like I really want to make it. So what would you recommend? How do they start? Like, where do they look for resources? Like, can you like kind of outline that like framework for people who started with nothing and they decide to really teach themselves from like ground zero?
Oh, if I was to redo it, I would still take Angela Yu's course because I feel like she gives a great outline of what you need to do. But one thing that I didn't listen to her that she told me at the very beginning was to get involved in the community.
Hmm.
And that's what I would say do from the start. Get involved in the iOS community because people love to see your progress. And when people have when people can see what you're doing and see all the hard work you're putting into it, they remember that. And they're like, oh, all right, I just seen this guy Hakeem or this girl Lacey doing iOS projects. Looks like she would be a good hire. Um, they'll probably go to their hiring manager and be like, you should give him an interview. You should take a look at it. But don't just code in the dark. That's what I would say. Put put it out there. Get involved and put it out there. That's what I would give to that's the advice I would give to anybody. And I would say find somebody who's already in the iOS community that
Hmm.
could kind of walk you through little things and give you direction. For sure, find somebody that's already in the iOS community also. I
Yeah,
think that would be huge.
yeah, I agree with you. Like involvement with the community is really, really huge, and um, I would say like just asking people. And I know, like on I don't know, like on Twitter or like on LinkedIn, like you name it. I know it might be a little bit redundant, like when people ask, like, so, like, how do I learn iOS development, or like, what courses would I take? But you will be surprised the materials that people can provide, even like individual contributors and like even more like a little bit more expensive courses, but like it's easier to spend like 70 at like, okay, let's say like 300 bucks for a course,
Hmm.
for a very good
Hmm.
course, well
Hmm.
thought out course,
Hmm.
than like spend like thousands of like money on the boot camp if you are on the budget and like your bootcamp doesn't provide like installments and things like that. I would say, yeah, like even as a like as a solid iOS developer, I think community is really important because like this is how you get to know like about jobs. So like I
Hmm.
I found one of my jobs, my previous job at Nordstrom. I like I really like got it through the network, through the networking with people and other iOS developers. I say, hey, like I it sounds really good. I think I would like to apply, and
Hmm.
like I applied, and like it really helps a lot because you cut so much like with the networking, because like without
Hmm.
networking, like like the other reality, the like recruiter reality, that they are scrambling to find like the perfect candidate, and
There,
like there are not enough like junior positions and things like that, and but like also like when they hear, hey, like this person would be a good fit, so it's a little bit like you make everybody's job a little bit easier, I think.
yeah. I got a question for you. I'm sure
Yeah.
people would want to know, especially junior devs. When are you no longer a junior dev? When are you a
Oh,
senior?
well, that's a good question. Well, I think, and I might be wrong, after your first year working professionally at a company, you work a solid year or two at a company, you are no longer like really a junior dev. You are a mid level, more so like 2 years, because like the first year you are learning processes, like you're learning how to do the thing, and you're learning how to work with other devs, and like everything is scary and overwhelming, and like it's just like you think that like they're gonna fire you like immediately because you don't know what you're doing. Like after that first year, like the next year like is really when you starting to walk by yourself.
Mhm.
And I think I would confidently, like if I were hiring for a mid-level iOS developer, I would look at people with 2 years plus with like of experience as a mid-level. As a senior, I think, well, and like it's in terms of like the timeline, in terms of your knowledge, like you're no longer junior when you can take small or medium sized tasks, break it down by yourself. And again, it has to happen in the industry reality, because it's
Hmm.
easier
Hmm.
to build stuff for yourself, like to be indie developer, which is the whole another thing. Like you can be an indie developer for your entire career and like never work at the company. Like it's also possible, but in terms of corporate world, it has to happen in the corporate world. And yeah, like after you can take like small or medium sized tasks from your, like let's say, project manager, you're no longer junior because you can do the work by yourself, medium or
Hmm.
like small or medium sized tickets. As a senior developer, you like as a mid level developer, you like really want to feel comfortable building medium size to large size tasks by yourself with
Hmm.
like no help or with minimum help. And like also when you mid-level developer, you also um, can mentor other developers, so you teach others
Yeah.
how to
Yeah.
code. It's really important. And as a senior developer, you think on the whole another level. You think about the like team level, you think about architecture, you think about like infrastructure. And like the interesting thing as a senior developer, it's not always about the code that you write. It's about how like the whole thing is put together. For example, like we don't have unit tests, like let's write unit tests. Like we have to like do continuous integration and continuous development pipeline on GitHub CI/CD. Um,
Hmm.
we have to implement like integration tests. Like we have to like adapt more robust architectural patterns. Like for example, like we used to do like network with the singletons, and now we do dependency injections, like things like
Hmm.
that, and how to do it better, because there are like many ways to do that pattern. So this is kind of how you distinguish like whether or not you junior, like mid-level, or junior, or like or senior. And another thing that you can also do for yourself is to put yourself out there. So let's say
Hmm.
like you being at a company for like a year or two, see what other offers you may get from the recruiters, like,
Hmm.
and try to challenge yourself and go for interviews. If you get an interview, if you like, let's say if you're junior, like you being like you were doing development for a year, but somebody got to you with a mid-level opportunity, try to challenge yourself and go on that interview. You don't have to take a job if you're happy at your own place and if you want to grow with your company, but like to challenge yourself and like really see what is out there for you and challenge your skills, like it's also important. And the same thing with mid-level engineers. So like if you feel like that you can step forward, like try to interview for a senior developer, see what
Hmm.
resistance you get, see what feedback you got. So
I agree. I agree. Because I know for a fact, if I was at a company, I would definitely try to challenge myself to get to that next level if I was in that position. Um, Kenzo have a question for you, looks like.
oh, Kenzo, yeah. Hey, I just tuned in. I have associates of computer science. I've also been doing Swift project on my own. How can I get my foot in the door of iOS development? So, do you have an idea how Kenzo can get into like get a foot in the door into iOS development?
Kenzo. Currently, I don't have my foot in the door in iOS development. So I can tell you that advice I've been given, and I'm working towards getting my foot in the door. That would be to put yourself out there. I don't know if you are involved in the Twitter community, but that is a huge resource, and the iOS community is huge. And you can show off your projects, connect with numerous different people, and just get involved. Honestly, I think that would be my biggest advice to you. Get involved in the iOS community, and Twitter is a great space to do that in.
Yeah, I agree. Like, put yourself out there, create your portfolio. So, if you don't have experience, you have to create your
Mhm.
own experience. So, create your portfolio, and like your portfolio, you can start with a like app from the tutorials that you're making, but change it, modify it, and also if you like, it might be challenging to start building your own app. You can actually put together your own app out of other pieces of code that you used to use. So like that is also like possible, because like developers, we always like, it's what we do. Like we don't know how to solve a particular problem, we Google, we see a piece of code, we try to make it work, we steal it and make it our own and refactor it. So, portfolio is really important. Engagement with the community is really important, and like your resume is really important. And if you don't have real experiences, put together those projects, because like those projects is currently is your actual work. So, and um, it will help you to have an app in an app store. So if you don't have any experience, like I would say like a associate or masters or like bachelor's of computer science, and does it really it doesn't really matter. I mean, for certain companies it does, but for vast majority of the companies out there, like the level of your degree like doesn't really matter. It- what matters is, can you actually code, can you actually do the job? And your job as like as a junior developer is to showcase and prove yourself that you can actually do the job. Yeah. Hakeem, I have a question for you. Like, what like framework of Apple do you like the most?
Um, what framework of Apple that I like the most? I would say the most interesting one to me so far has been Maps, MapKit. And the reason I like it is because of the it's like magic to me. The way you can pull up certain locations, you can get satellite views on the location, and it's like it's like teleporting to me. So with the map kit, you can literally see pretty much anywhere in the country that you would like to see, which intrigues me a lot.
And you can actually like you can actually trace the speed of your device. Like if you
I,
use core location, like you can track your own speed, which is like I notice it by accident. I like, okay, speed, like my speed, and it was like something really minimal. Like I like, oh, like I guess that's really cool. And like there are apps out there that will actually tell you the speed that you're moving with. So yeah, I agree with you. Apps or maps, they can be complicated, and like yeah, like it's pretty cool what you can do with maps.
if you get the framework down, you can create some powerful stuff with MapKit and core location. And it's insane. And
Yeah.
you do you have ways?
You know, I used to. I like I now I use just Google Maps. Like I use Google Maps, then I switched to Apple Maps, and Apple Maps like kind of disappointed me a little bit. I switched to back to Google Maps. Then like, okay, I'm like Apple fanboy. Like I'm sure they made it better, so I switched to Apple Maps again, but they didn't have the same usability as Google Maps. So like I'm back at Google Maps again.
This is not an ad. Waze is amazing. It's what they were able to accomplish with I don't know what I'm assuming they used MapKit, but I don't know what they use with, but it's amazing. You can track your speed. You can you pretty much get everybody who has a Waze app when you are on the road, you can see them on the application. It's crazy. And you can create like emojis. Say you're going to the
Hmm.
mountains for the weekend, and people that's going to the mountains for the weekend, they can like pretty much create like a status on there, and you can see it
Hmm.
as you're driving by them and stuff like. It's crazy.
Yeah,
It's a great app.
yeah, I
It's
agree.
beautiful.
But hey, like we've been writing for about like almost 40 minutes. So, how can people find you? Like if they want to offer you a job, or like if they want to connect with you, where they can find you?
You can find me on LinkedIn, obviously. You can just type in my name, search my name, Hakeem Deggs, HakeemDeggs. Or you can also find me on Twitter. And also, You can just type in my name, first name, last name, Hakeem Deggs, HakeemDeggs.
Okay, awesome. And where are you located? I think I should have started with that, but like, where are you located? Where are you at?
I'm currently located in Denver, Colorado.
Nice. I'm in, well, like, you know that I'm in Denver, Colorado, but
Yeah,
I'm also
yeah,
in
yeah,
Denver, Colorado.
yeah.
Nice.
Denver is a nice city.
It is.
Denver,
It is. Yeah, I like Denver a lot. But hey, like, I really appreciate you coming on to the show, and I wish you all the best. And like, I know it's hard out there, and like, I think many people, many junior devs or people who are trying to break into industry can attest that like it's really hard. But like, really, like, if you're out there, look at Hakim's portfolio, look at Hakim's resume, look at what he's done. He's done pretty cool work out there. Like, and you do have apps on the App Store, right?
I have one that I'm trying to push to the App Store right now. It's a simple application, but it's one about where you can schedule to get notified morning and night when it's time to brush your teeth.
Oh,
So you
nice,
keep a pearly white smile.
nice. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming, and thank you everybody for joining us for today's live stream. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.
Thank you.